We had an open practice yesterday too.
We're on live. She just said we had an open practice. I'm gonna have to edit that. No, I'm leaving that in. Hey, it's a new chapter at SMU, and look who's on the show. Uh, AB, can I call you AB?
No, you can call me Adia. Not
All
even.
right, hey, all right,
I don't have
Adia. I wanted
nicknames.
to
I
make
keep
sure.
4 letters.
Yeah, I want to make sure I got that. So Adia Barnes from SMU, man, one of my favorite coaches out there. So what's going on? How you holding up now during this transition?
It's great. Yesterday was our first like community event here at SMU. Our first time practicing in Moody, so I didn't know what to expect because we kind of advertised it last second, but we had a few hundred people. It was actually really, really good and well received.
Well, I know that you have that you know how to get the crowds in the house because in Arizona it was packed all the time there.
Yeah.
So I know you know what you're doing there. So let's get into it. So what drew you to SMU and what excites you most about building something special in here in Dallas? I wanted to know about that.
So the first thing that drew me to SMU, they have an incredible athletic director, incredible um, leadership. So getting Damon from Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
a really big time dynamic AD that really supports women's sports and really loves and supports women's basketball was very important to me. But then even besides him, President Turner, which is his legacy and just so many amazing things. And then when you go get a new president, Hartzell from Texas, and then you have this long tenure of Turner who built stuff here for 30 years, and then you have the former men's basketball coach from USC, Andy, and then you have Rhett who's has his football team rolling in the
Yes.
playoffs. All of these things lead to greatness, and it just showed me how committed. Someone wants to say hi. Showed me how committed. Say hi, Capri. Showed me how committed SMU is to athletics
Yeah.
and how they want to do something big. So this is really a sleeping giant.
Well, we talked about that a little bit about being a sleeping giant on the clip, and I knew that going. I've been saying that since I've moved here from California about SMU that I thought it could blow up and be a special basketball place for women. So I knew that. But tell me this: when you think about culture, what do you want to establish? What do you want to establish there at SMU? Are you and what are your non-negotiables?
Well, culture is one of the most important things to me. So having the right players that are all aligned. We're obviously not going to build it in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day or a month or a year. I think that it takes time, but making sure that the first thing is we're drastically improving. I put this team together very fast.
Yeah.
I think that we're still have a chance to be good. And then, but just doing it with the right people, the right way, our chemistry. And I just love this team. I have not loved the team in a few years for just various reasons, but I really, really love all the players on this team. I love our chemistry. They like to be around, they hang around. I've watched some individuals transform. So I am so happy with this team. And I just watching our cohesiveness, we're going to win more games just with that because culture
Mm-hmm.
is everything. So I want to make sure building the foundation right with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting better daily. And then while we're doing that, we're building this community. This is a community that's very close knit. This community is very special. I didn't know anything about it when I got here. But now that I'm here, it is 10 times better than I could have ever imagined. And I have so many ties to Dallas and to Texas. No one knows my dad's from Texas. My grandma lives my grandma, before she passed away, lives in Longview. My aunts live in Longview and Mesquite. My sister lives in Capel. Like, there is a lot of ties to Dallas. And so I think God brought me here. I really do. And it's funny because I go to drop my son off at the Mavs camp the other day, and I'm related to the girl that was running it. We're
My
like
God.
cousins. So
Look at that.
there was so many ties here, and this is a sleeping giant. Uh,
Well,
there's so much support from SMU, and they want to be good. So I think we'll
and
have support from the community, and we'll be good.
I think that, like I said, I've been here in the Metroplex, and that I always said Dallas that SMU should be a powerhouse, and they've got everything that you need to be a powerhouse. Was it hard to leave Arizona? Because I know you had ties there, and we got to keep it transparent. Yeah, we've heard all the rumors and stuff back at that time, but what was it hard to leave Arizona? Because you've been there, and like I said,
Yeah,
you were
it
national
wasn't hard to leave.
championship and all that.
Yeah, it was hard to leave because I'm an alumni from there.
Yeah.
I have like a lot of pride in what we did there, and I built it from the ground. That was an awful program when I
Mhm.
took over. It was a very undesirable job. It was the lowest paying job in all Power Five. It was the lowest by like 40,000 in the Pac-12. And so it was not a good job. It was a bad job. And everybody told me not to take it. All my mentors, all Hall of Famers, all the WNBA people, they all said, do not take it. I took a chance and I took it. I bet on myself. And then we built it. No one thought we could build it. Went from a fan base of like 200 people to 10,000 a game. And so, I had pride in that. And I was my blood, sweat, and tears for 9 years. But it got to the point where there's a lot of financial difficulties at Arizona. And I didn't think that we had the resources for what it takes to be good. And it's not all about resources. There's a different kind of investments in programs. There's monetary investment. There's a vision for the program. There's different types of ways to invest. And I never thought I'd leave. But this opportunity I could not pass up with leadership like Damon Evans. And for me, the leadership is the most important thing. And President Hartzell is an incredible president. And I've heard a lot of stuff about him at Texas and have known coaches that have worked for him. So all those things, I knew that I could build something special at SMU. So I didn't
Yeah.
know.
I can't reiterate that enough. That when I heard, because you know how guys at barbershop talk stuff, and they were asking who's going to get the job, and I'm not blowing smoke. I was like, man, all right, here's who I think, and I get
Yeah, who did
called.
you think? I want to hear this.
To be honest, at the time that it came, Coach B, is that okay, Coach B?
Oh, I don't care. Yeah.
Okay. I felt that you was perfect for this job. I also like JR. I also like JR. I thought JR would be a good fit
But
at
who's JR?
JR Payne from
Oh,
Colorado.
JR. Oh, okay, I thought there was another
I,
JR over here.
yeah, I thought that would have been a good fit also. But
Oh, I
my
didn't know.
first,
I didn't know she was. Well, yeah, I didn't even know. Well, I didn't think she'd leave Colorado right now.
but
But
I'll
she would.
tell you, those were my two pick for this. And I knew when they hired you, I was like, oh my, okay, it's done. She's going, I'm gonna send you a clip that was 2 months ago what I said, so you can verify that. But
Okay.
I was like, man, Coach B, she's gonna turn this thing around. There's no way. The type of style that you play, the defense, the NBA, the WNBA contacts, all of that stuff, I thought was going to bring it, and I believe that there'll be 10,000 fans in that arena with.
Well, and the funny thing is, this is what's funny. So Moody only seats like around 8,000, a little bit less.
Mhm.
And if this would have been at Arizona, we would have sold out every game.
Well, you were doing it there,
It's
because
easy to
I,
sell
I
out Moody
followed you there.
Dallas.
Yeah, yeah, but I had ties to Arizona with Kate Reese and all the girls that you were Texas and during that time. So I followed you when you came into town to Dallas to play somebody. You were here playing somebody,
Well, we
and
played
Kate,
Texas. We played
yeah,
Texas.
Kate sent me a couple tickets, and I went over there and watched the game. So, but how does your experience from Arizona to the WNBA? How will that shape your recruiting and lead to in this new era at SMU?
Yeah, I think recruiting is about money right now. It's no longer
Unfortunately.
about relationships. It's very
Mm-hmm.
transactional. So if you have the resources, you can build a pretty good team. It doesn't mean you're going to win, but you
Yeah.
have a better chance to win. That's the reality. I mean, I know a lot of good coaches that aren't going to have resources and are not going to win, or they'll win a little bit more than what their team should. It's like us in Arizona. The fact that we were able to finish seventh last couple of years is pretty miraculous. I mean, because we probably had the budget of a 12th place team.
Mm-hmm.
So but it's not something you can say as a coach. You can't say, "Oh, we have no money, no resources." But it's not even all about resources. I think that there's a couple different things. So it's I'm not going to use money as an excuse. It was very hard to recruit to Arizona because there's no talent in state. So when I looked at all those things, SMU made more and more sense. Like I had to talk myself out of why I'm leaving because for me, it's like I probably could have stayed there 20 more years. Um, but when I looked at, okay, in Dallas, you can recruit only Texas and win. So you can be awesome recruiting in the state of Texas or in the city of Dallas and be successful. So that was something I've never had. I've never had that. To be in a huge city with so many things to do that's so attractive, logistically so easy to get to.
Me
That's a
too.
that's a huge other drawing point. So and then Oklahoma's a couple hours away.
Mm-hmm.
All the things easy to touch, and all. It checked every box.
Box.
If
Hey.
they look here, it's way better than I thought. I love it. It's the best
Huh?
decision I ever made.
For me too, and I came here being dragged by my wife. I did not come here. The company, she took the CEO job, and that's not too far from your office. And I got dragged to Texas, and I
Yeah,
had been doing well in California. So I get that part. And when you said something that I want to touch bases on, I'm gonna get off script for just a minute. But you talked about uh, the availability. And I talked to some girl dads about that. And I'm like, some of these places where you go to college, you jump on an airplane and you go to the airport, you still got a 2 hour ride to get somewhere.
yeah.
You still got to do all this. Dallas is not like that. You can
Well,
recruit
and it's
Oklahoma,
and even if you have to
Arkansas.
work for it, if it's a small city, it's very expensive. So to ask families to come to a smaller city, even if it's close, like say within 50 minutes, if it's smaller, it costs a lot because there's less
Yeah,
flights. So
yeah.
all those things play a factor. Like it's hard times. People don't have a lot of money. That's why people are really counting on these players to make money, and it helps a lot of families.
No, I'm on board with that. I certainly am. Uh, like I said, I've been tooting your horn also on this, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna send you a clip to verify that. But tell me
Yeah.
this, and I'm gonna jump off one more question since you mentioned this. Let's talk about the 26 NIL collective. You said it's all about money, but this new thing coming out, and I've been doing my homework. It's gonna kind of narrow some things down. And I was talking to some of my girl dads about educating them on this process of, dude, you're not going to get this. You think you're going to get that. You think you're going to get this. Things are going to change. And I believe that there's some players out there that'll be well within budget to come to certain campuses if you have the relationships and the connections with and educate those parents and dads on that. How do you feel about this new collective, not the old, the new one?
Bet. Well, I think that the top players, even the top players in Dallas, are going to be very, very hard to get. I think there are 3 or 4 really, really big time players here down the road, and I think they're going to be very, very expensive. And I think that the challenging part is someone's going to pay that, and all it does is take one school to pay a really, really high dollar. But I think that overall it's going to equalize. I think that
Mhm.
the prices are insane and out of control, so it has to. But I think it's going to take some time. The challenge is that there's some top programs that have just a lot more money. Like UConn is going to have a lot more money. South Carolina, Tennessee, they're going to have more money, so they're going to be the ones that can pay the top dollar. So I
Mhm.
think it all comes down to money. So even a lot of these top players, if you don't have top dollars, you're not getting them.
Well,
And
how
I
does
think
that work with? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, I think 2 or 3 players out of Dallas, that's gonna happen. Now I think overall, freshmen aren't gonna make the money they made before because no one wants to pay a freshman a lot of money unless it's like 1 or 2 or probably 5 players that are
The com-
program changes because you wanna pay a transfer that's proven.
Mhm.
So, but NIL can't be promised because they don't know. It has to be regulated by the
NLI
NCAA.
go.
Yeah, so like that's not you
Mhm.
can't promise that. So you have to promise rev share right now.
Yeah, yeah. And what if the revenue? And what I mean by that, so I'm hearing 20 million and 15 million at some schools goes to football. How are
Oh,
you going to
not
allocate?
at some schools, at 90% of schools. 70, whatever. Go 20 to 22 million. What's 75% of 20 to 22 million?
That's going to football.
Yeah, I mean, so every school, some will be have 17 or 16, like, well, yeah, probably like 15 at
So
least.
what sense does it make? Like I said, it's going to be roster reconstruction. I can't pay a freshman or even a transfer. You got to this amount of money. I got to budget my roster, and that's the part that I think a lot of my girl dads, and I'm on talking to a lot of dads that they don't understand, and I'm going to continue to educate them on that. So,
Yeah.
um, as a mom, what have you learned about emotional and developmental need of young girls in sports as a mom? Because I know your mom. I saw your little guy jump over there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've already because I was, being just a woman, I already kind of knew that even before I was a mom. I think as a mom, how it changes your perspective is like you realize why some parents are the way they are because you love your kids so much and you just want the best for your kids. So I think it comes from a good place a lot. And I think you have a more of an understanding of that when you are a parent and you are a mom because you're like, okay, now I see why those parents are crazy. or like,
You
or
answered all my
they're
questions.
or they're so tunnel vision on some things. And there's something my husband says from Italy, like every cockroach is beautiful to his mom. So I think that, you have to just understand, meet people where they're at. And I think what I've learned in my 10 years as a head coach is you have to really be conscious of who you're recruiting and how their parents are. And you do not want to recruit kids that have super, super involved parents that aren't positive, because it's not going to change when I get to college. It's going to look a little different, but it's not worth the energy. And I've learned that a couple of years in my early part of my career. I took some chances, and like it was a mistake and it really hurt, and it's just too much stress. So I'm not doing that now. It's not worth it. In the end, the kids are never even great because the greatest players don't have parents like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you must be reading on my question. You are like, you must got somebody over here reading my question. So it's like, so my next one was, what advice for my girl dads who are deeply involved in this basketball journey? What advice you have for them?
I think just you got to put your kids in the
Do's
best.
and don'ts.
So put your kids in the best situations, the best coaches. Let the coaches coach them. And I think that, um, like a lot of parents like always only speak for their children, and I think that you have to get your kids the tools to speak up for themselves, advocate for
Oh,
themselves,
wow.
learn how
Yeah.
to communicate, learn how to say no, learn how to kind of figure out the process, because at the end of the day it's their decision. If you force your kid into a decision, then when things don't work out, they're going to come to you, hate you, and be mad. You made me do this. So you don't want to do that. I think you want to give your kids the foundation, all
Yeah.
the information, and let them make the best decision that they think. And I think, so many of these people, like they're so involved, they monitor all the calls, they're doing this and that. You can't even really talk to their kids. I don't think that's good, because it's going to be hard for them in college.
In work, in life, one of the things I did with Quincy when she was getting heavily recruited, I put a parameter around it. I'm not a
Yeah,
helicopter dad. I
different.
put
Like, don't call her at this time. That's completely
no.
different than like micromanaging everything.
Yeah, I'm not doing, and I made her speak. I made her talk. I was like, okay, I spoke to the coach. Now I'm out the picture. You are going to be able to have to deal with in corporate America if that's the way you're going. So I would expect you to be able to talk, and you know what you want, you know what you don't want. So I'm not going to talk. You can come back and ask me what my opinion is. So I'm on board with all that, and I also tell my girl dads that. So
Yeah, because
all
I
right,
think that some of the parents, like, they're speaking for the kid. Their kid can't even get a word in on Zoom, and then they don't talk. And it's like, so then what do you expect them to do when they come to college? It's the
well,
same thing. We're not talking to parents in college. We're talking to them sometimes, but not like talking about this and that. Like some of the parents on the sideline trying to coach their kids the whole time. Like, we
hella
pay attention.
top.
It's too much. Like, let your kid teach your kid to listen to their coach, or else don't choose that coach. If you don't have the belief and stuff, don't choose that
Yeah,
coach.
yeah. I used to say that in club ball. Don't give me her if she ain't. If you go, don't sit there and let me. I'm the coach. Don't have try to coach me. And you give me to her. You got to trust me, and I will do what I do, or don't give
Yeah,
it to
don't live out your dreams through your
her.
kid. Like, let her develop herself. Give her the tools to make the decisions, and push her and support her. Don't be so
Yeah.
critical. Some dad, and it's
Y'all
always
hear
a dad.
that, girl dads? All my girl dads out there. Coach Barnes is giving you some nuggets right now.
Some
So
of
you
the
can't.
dads are so overbearing. There, and some
Ah,
moms are bad too, but some dads are like coaching their kids in the AAU. It's just like their kids looking at the dad every time. It's not healthy, and it's like we don't want to deal with that in college. We're not dealing with that in college. Like, this is a business now. You got to perform. It's not about
right.
not looking at your dad
You
every.
said
It's
it
like,
was transactional. You said it's transactional now. So it's like either put up. It's not. It's transactional. You're a pro. Well,
yeah.
tell me what. I mean, is there any parent that impressed you that left a long lasting impression on you? So I can help my girl dads with that
Yeah,
one.
there's a lot. Like, I just had a family. I had two families here this last weekend,
Uh huh.
and they were incredible. They are smart people. They're very different. One was like a Virginia area, like, but I love them. Like, I love their daughters even more after being around the parents, because you see how they're raised. They're going to be the parents that are going to tell their kids, you need to do better, and this and that. They're not going to make excuses or give their coach give the kids something that their shoulder to cry on. And I watched. So like during the game, I saw this player a couple weeks ago. I was watching how her parents were. She was out of the game in a championship game in a critical point. She was pulled out. But I watch how they are. Some parents are mad, pissed off that their kid's not in and not worried about team. I watched her parents. They were not like that. Because I was
Hmm.
like, oh, she's not in this critical part. But you watch all that because they let the coach do his thing. They respect the coach enough to let him do his thing. But she's pulled out for a reason. And I really respected them for that. And
All
I
right.
think that, you have to trust your coaches, or that's not the place. You got to trust. You may talk or say, hey, why do you do this? Or like one of these parents I really like, it's a Dallas kid. I heard a lot of bad things about this particular dad, and I like him. Like for me, I don't mind asking, like, I don't mind talking to him, collaborate. Hey, this is why I do this. Like he comes and watches skill workout because I want you to be comfortable and know that we're gonna get you better. We know how to coach. So it's like
I can't wait to. I'm gonna find out who it is. Don't even tell me.
I'm okay with the people like, oh, he's a lot, oh, he's this and that. And I'm like, I'm okay
I
with
already
them.
know who you're talking
I
about.
don't mind talking to him. We have good collaboration. He like, oh, let me go see school. Come on. Like come down whenever. You don't have to even come call me an
I'm
hour
no
before,
official.
before.
I know who
I
you're talking.
don't mind. I like the kids. So for me, it's like I just don't like the negativity or someone blowing up your phone or why my daughter doesn't like trust us, know the process, trust that we're developing them on and off court, or don't choose that school.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I never. I don't know. 5 years that Q played basketball. I'd never. One time I talked to the head coach. Once.
Which is
One
you're
time.
entitled to, but not about why
No,
isn't she playing this? Why
no,
isn't she
no,
playing
nothing like that. No,
coaches
no.
want to
One.
win. I'm telling you, if they think they're going to win with your kid in the game, they're
They'll
going to put
play.
your kid in the game. So
Yeah.
it's like there's reasons. Sometimes it's matchups. Sometimes it's do they remember plays down the stretch? Like there's a lot of different things, but parents never see that view. And like it's hard. And I'm not saying all, like
No,
most
no,
of the
I know
time,
you're not. I get
we
it.
have amazing parents. But the couple that have not been good that I would have recruited 10 years ago, I do not recruit those kids now. Some people are
Mhm.
checked up with this crazy mom or crazy dad. I'm not.
Oh, girl dads, hear it coming. That's what she just said. I'm gonna post that so y'all get that nuggets, man, so you don't fall on that landmine or step on that landmine. So we got some good stuff coming, Coach. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I know I got to land this plane pretty soon because you got time and you got things you got to do. But I had Vera Joe on my show, and she's played professionally, and she's now a mental performance coach, not mental health. And I wanted to ask you, how do you help your players develop confidence and resilience, especially in this high pressure era of social media and comparison, constant comparing?
Yeah, so we do that a lot. So as a coach, you can't just say, "Oh, be confident." Like, what is that? How do you do that? So my job as a coach, first of all, I'm a black female that played in college, played at the highest level. I want us to be successful. I don't want a player to be in school and just because she's a black athlete, she's in school. Like, that's not. I don't want that. So I take a lot of pride in that. Just developing holistically. So like for me, I have to put them in situations where they're uncomfortable. So let's say I notice a player like Ari, for example, is not good at speaking in front of people, would just be so quiet. So I had to put her in uncomfortable situations where have her talk in front of the group, have her talk, put her in situations where she's meeting donors, and put her in these situations for growth because that's how you get confidence, repetition, just like skill work. You get
Mm-hmm.
confidence from your skill work every day. Then in a game, you go to do that move. You've done it hundreds of thousands of times and you believe in it and you're okay with it. And you're going to make those shots. So it's just like off the court, like stuff like etiquette class. So I put you in etiquette training because I don't want you to be at a meal, a 7 course meal in the WNBA or pro, and you mess up the table. So you will have confidence when you've gone through the training. You don't have it if you've never been in those situations. So
Yeah.
media and the way you speak and the way you carry yourself, I have to teach them this is what it looks like. This is how you do it and coach them along the way. Hey, I notice you're using a lot of this word. Let's practice. And then what I do is I do it a lot indirectly behind the scenes. So if I know
Mm-hmm.
someone's really bad at media, then I'm gonna have the guy and I'm gonna have people I know constantly interview her and put her
Yeah.
in situations. So a lot of players don't know you do that and they get annoyed when you make them do things, but then in 10 years they call you and they thank you.
Yeah, they're in an interview and they interviewing in front of a board of people and they're not choking up. That's
Like
basketball. Basketball teaches you things that are for off the court. And I should tell Q that now that
that's
all the stuff. She used to say, "Dad, you're doing too much." I'd be like, "I ain't doing too much. I'm preparing you for things
like
other than that." But
well, even me in
I
college,
talked to.
like in college, I would have like missed an assignment or I would have called in sick if I had a class presentation. You couldn't have paid me to speak in an arena in front of people. I would have ran out
Wow,
of
I
the
can imagine that.
And now I'm like, because I've had years of practice. And it used to, I still get nervous, absolutely. But you do it, but it's repetition, it's practice. You get comfortable. You learn skills, and that's what it's all about. And it's important. It's important to be with a coach that knows that values that's good at those things, because they're teaching your kid. If it's only basketball, that's what you're going to get.
Ah,
If you go to somewhere where it's only about basketball, only about X's and O's, that's how your kid's gonna be, only about basketball. But if you want your kid developed, you have to look at the leadership and say, okay, is this a woman that can do it? Is this a guy that can do it? What does he do? What does he emulate that can teach my kid? Because it's your kid and it's their decision for life. These
yes.
4 years prepare you for life. They prepare you for the next 40 plus. They're the most important years of their lives.
Yeah. Well, you're dropping nuggets, guys. Girl dads. She's dropping nuggets. And on the mental health, I was talking to Vera about that, Coach Joe, the mental coach, and she was saying that you have to you can't get your confidence from someplace. You gotta find out. You can't get it from coaches. You can't get this from you. You might have an abusive coach. How do you respond from that? And she was dropping nuggets. And if you get some time, or you sitting up at the airport and bored, go on my spot. Check Vera out, man. She has some really good nuggets. She's out of Boise, Idaho, and I brought her on the show to talk about that. Actually, Q got her, because she used to be at Mexico too, and Q plugged me with her, and I said, yeah, I'd love to have her on the show. But like I said, I know you're busy, and I want to thank you for coming on the show, and you just hit some nuggets. And all my girl dads, we're going to be able to take advantage of that. And also, as I'm landing this thing, I'm on a PSA campaign for all my girl dads to get their prostate checked and get in there and stop. Show some emotion. If you want to talk about it, DM me. I'm experiencing some things on the PSA level, and I want all you guys to be able to talk about that, because it's important. So, Coach, thanks a lot.
Funny. It's funny, or it's not funny. My dad had prostate cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So my biological father, who's actually from Texas,
what part of Texas is he from? I meant to ask you that.
So he grew up in Longview, Texas, which I think is like 3 hours away. So it's a little town with routes and stuff. So he's from Louisiana, small town Louisiana, but then he was adopted and brought to Longview, and then grew up there, like lived there up until 5 years ago. And my dad played in the NFL and stuff. And I
got your I Googled you. I knew your dad, what he did.
Yeah, so I took him out of Longview, and I put him in a home in Arizona for the last 6 months of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I flew his body after he passed away. I gave his brain to the NFL for research on concussions, because obviously it's how he died. And then I flew his body back to Longview.
Was it the prostate?
No, he didn't die from prostate. He died. He had that and it got cured. I think he just had to get like a testicle removed and stuff. Had some issues.
Yeah.
He died from CT, dementia, onset of Parkinson's, all the football trauma. He had over 423 concussions.
Oh wow, that's
cool. I'm not a huge football fan, to be honest.
Okay. Well, guys, I tell you, we're gonna get on that. We're on it, and I'm using my platform to help you guys out. Okay, so let's talk about it, because we don't open our feelings is enough. But Coach, thanks for coming on. Can you hold up a second or two before you leave? I was trying to keep it under time, because I know how busy you are. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you. And I'm gonna come on campus and watch a practice. I've already seen the campus. They recruited Q to SMU before you got there. So you don't have to show me it on the campus, but I definitely want to watch you work.
Yeah, you can come anytime.
All right.